Hello everyone, today I just wanted to do a quick video for you guys on the Dualtron X, a quick review. This is typically how the scooter is supposed to look like. Just kidding, obviously. Just want to do a quick video for a lot of people that are either considering this scooter or own this scooter, and go over a few important things that you guys might come across. So got the scooter about 4 or 5 months ago, maybe a little bit more. Been having a lot of fun with it. It's a powerful scooter. It's got a lot of power. It's all-wheel drive, obviously. Both front and rear wheels are powered. Hence, you have two controllers. So there's a controller here for the front wheel that is connected right here. It goes through the stem to the front wheel. And you have a rear controller right here that is connected to the rear wheel, with a motion sensor here, or a speed sensor, so you could actually lock this thing up. It's got an anti-theft feature where if you activate it and someone tries to take off in your scooter, let me see where that piece is, someone tries to take off in it, then it kind of locks up the rear wheel a little bit, makes it harder for someone to borrow the scooter for an extended period of time. So this is what that unit looks like, and the reason I'm shooting this video is I decided to install the Magura brakes on this scooter. It comes with those brakes that I installed on my bike. It comes with these guys, and these are single piston, and these are dual piston calipers, which gives you a lot better stopping power. Also helps you modulate the brakes a lot better. The issue with that is you cannot run the stock hose that come on the scooter, because the stock hose is thinner on the inside, does not run enough fluid, so you have to replace these guys. Now this is a little nightmare to replace, so you have to run it through here, through the box, through that hose, run it all the way up to the top, which I've done successfully on both the front and the back. But then, as I was tightening this guy up, I pinched one of those wires, and hence the mess here. So when I pinched the wire, what I ended up frying is this unit right here, which I already replaced. It's not too hard to replace, but it's not a lot of fun, to be honest with you. You just gotta keep up with all these wires. I don't know where I put the other unit. I probably tossed it somewhere in here in the garage. But in any case, that unit right here controls the lights. So not knowing what this is and where it was, because it's actually hidden in here, and there's a whole bunch of cables on top of it, so it's hard for you to see it. So I went right here where this guy was. So this is what's actually connected to your fingerprint sensor, okay, this guy, and it's usually connected to this wire right here. So when I pulled the wire, it opened up this unit. I'll just open it up real quick for you guys to see. So it opened up this unit where this guy sits. So this is the anti-theft unit. So this got pulled, and when this got pulled, I unplugged it to see if the lights were gonna go off, because I didn't know what I was doing at the time. So when I went to put it back, this guy right here, the JST female connection, those plugs touched the screw, which caused a short and blew my ESC, which I opened up right there. You don't have to open it up like that. I was just checking it out to see what could be wrong with it. You don't have to do all that. If you blow one of these ESCs, you just gotta remove the top deck, and the way you remove it is you go on the side right here. There's 3 screws that hold this guy. I've broken this guy before and I had to replace it. The way you replace it, you just remove this rubber seal right here. You just pull on it gently. This whole piece comes off. The LED light is still connected there, so you don't have to replace the LED light. You just remove the plastic cover and replace it. Once you take those out, you go right here, remove these 2 screws, and you gently wiggle it out. So when you go to cut the connection, right here, you got to be super careful, because these are your battery leads, the negative and the positive. These connect, you're just gonna have a beautiful explosion in your garage or wherever the heck you're working. That won't be a whole lot of fun. So once you get the new unit, in order to remove this wire right here is connected to, I know I created a mess here. It's going to be really easy for you guys to follow. I wasn't planning on making a video, but I just figured if someone had to do this and they don't know what they're doing, it's just going to be a little bit of a nightmare. So these two right here connect. So the way you disconnect it is you plug in, you put in a little screw right there, and you could actually, let's see, you push on that from there and you just push it out. Once you get the new one, plug it right back in. So some of the issues you could run into if you're heavier like myself, the bushing right here wears out, and once that bushing wears out, you'll need to replace the entire suspension. So in order to do that, I just made right there, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's a metal washer that goes inside the entire suspension, so you don't have to have a bushing there. Let me see if I could find it, show you guys what it looks like. And that's what the bushing looks like. So this one gets damaged. This is not too bad. I removed it before it got too bad. But once this one is damaged, you get a whole lot of wiggle room right there, which tends to damage the holes right there. It widens them up, so you have a lot of wiggle room right here. And when it happens in the front, the whole scooter becomes unstable. So we just went ahead and my buddy Jim up north has a Dualtron X as well. We went ahead and got these made, these metal washers. They run all the way through instead of this. Haven't had any issue since. Let's see, if you go to again, replace the front one, there is a connection here. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. There's this wire as well needs to be unplugged from one side in order to remove the front one. In order to remove the front one, you have to unplug it, then remove the front ESC. So the reason I went ahead and changed these brakes, because the stock brakes typically don't have enough stopping power, especially if you're heavier. If you want to have a little too much fun with this scooter moves at 50 plus miles per hour. It does have, I believe, I actually do know it has 5 modes for the motor brake. If you go to put it on level 5 and you're having a little too much fun, the battery is charged and you press the brake, you could kiss the ESC goodbye. You're gonna push in too much electricity back through the system to these guys. You will fry them almost on the spot, especially if your battery is charged. If you have it on level 4, again, about 250 pounds, give or take. My buddy Jim weighs about 190. He has fun with his Dualtron X. He's fried a couple of controllers that way, just on level 4. So on level 4, the electronic brake will not kick in too hard or too harsh, and also helps regenerate the electricity to recharge your batteries. That still could fry your electronic speed control. That hasn't happened to me. Trying to avoid it, try to put in the Magura brakes so I can have a little more stopping power. But these are a major and royal pain in the rear end to put in here. A lot of people tend to put shims all over the place to space them out, because there's a pretty big screw right there in the back that typically tends to touch the touches the wheel. I do have another set of brakes somewhere here. I could show you guys in case you guys want to do this upgrade here. Yep, I got a little mess here in the garage, working on multiple things at the same time. Working on this, was working on that, working on this, working on the Losi MTXL. Having a little too much fun here. Let me see if I could find that brake for you guys so you could see. One moment. Okay, so These bad boys are the Magura MT5s. Don't confuse these with the MT5Es. These actually come with this caliper, which looks different than this one. Very important if you have an electric scooter that you don't get this one. I got this one by mistake and never returned it. However, this one comes with some pretty interesting brake pads. These are the racing pads. There are 4 separate pads in here, and these have tremendous amount of grip. Just these pads alone would probably run you about 50-60 bucks. The whole unit cost me, I believe, about 160 some dollars. So this unit here is useless to me on this scooter, and the reason behind that, if you guys can see that red and black, or whatever that color is, it was red and black, but I put some shrink wrap around it. That actually is your electronic brake cutoff, and what that does is when you apply the brakes, that actually cuts off the power to the motor and it flashes your lights. So you definitely want to make sure you get one that has the electronic brake cutoff. So what I did, this is the original plug. Okay, so I cut it and I soldered 2 leads into it, 2 JST leads, so it can plug into the stock setup. That alone is another pain in the butt. And that actually, there's a couple of wires. Okay, I don't want to mess with this. That's how the whole part of it. But there's a couple of wires there. So there's a couple of wires. One goes from here, one goes from there. They connect to 2 leads, and it connects to the wire that comes through the neck of the scooter, or the stem. So let's see what else. I was also able to move this collar back a little bit, so that raises the scooter in the front, makes it a little bit firmer. Was also able to raise it just a little bit in the front, which firms it up and makes the ride a lot better. Enables you to take corners without scraping this easily. One of the other issues you may run into with this scooter is these typically break under a lot of pressure. The way you're going to replace this guy, you have to take out 2 screws from the bottom, then you have to remove this guy right here and take out a screw from the inside in order to replace this. Not the easiest thing to do, but once you've opened these a couple of times, you kind of get used to it. Another thing right here, if you have one of these, you're probably going to get a lot of play right here, and it gets annoying, and a lot of people don't know what to do. So these are tight right now. Let me see if I could, they're too tight. So these actually, when they pull and you fold, there's a screw right here. If you back it out just a little bit and close it, and you repeat the process till this gets tight, then you won't have any play here anymore. So this scooter, as you guys can see, came from USA Mini Motors. There's USA Mini Motors, and there's Mini Motors USA. Mini Motors USA is up north. These guys are up north, I mean Northern California. These guys are in New York. So my buddy purchased it from USA Mini Motors, and he had to move to Texas, so I picked up the scooter from him about 4 or 5 months ago. It was like brand new. And I was confused, did not know the difference between the two, so I've been calling Mini Motors USA up north. Met John and Cooper, 2 great guys. I mean, without them I wouldn't have been able to work on my scooter, to be honest. I've called the guys that actually sold this scooter, and unfortunately the help from them is very mediocre. The customer service is not up to par. Now, considering I did not purchase the scooter from Mini Motors USA, the amount of help they've given me is, I mean, I don't know what to say. They've been just amazing. Those 2 gentlemen. If you're considering getting a scooter like this, you will need some help. If you've never worked on one of these, I'd probably strongly consider working with John or Cooper from Mini Motors USA in California. I fried my unit right here. I was messing around. I blew the ESC. I made a whole lot of mistakes and caused a mess here. which he's sending me the new ESC. I fried the light here, so they actually guided me to get the light switch. Called the guys at USA Mini Motors. I emailed them, been trying to get some help. They don't have a clue what's going on or how this stuff works, and unfortunately no help from there. So I was a little desperate, but thankfully the guys had the unit. They sold it to me at a discount. I really appreciate it, John and Cooper. I can't wait to get the scooter back on the road. They sent me new rotors. These guys are also tougher than the standard ones. The standard ones that came with it are really easy to bend. These guys are really easy to bend. I can bend it with my hand, and once you bend it, you're gonna have a lot of fun. It's just gonna start making all kinds of noises, bug the crap out of you. These are a lot stronger. They're a lot harder to bend. Now to install these, it's another song and dance. So what you have to do is you gotta take these off, remove these nuts, pull the little hold-in tab that's in here, pull it on the other side. You have to unplug this guy. Don't forget to remove your caliper. That's very important because it's connected right there to your hydraulic fluid hose. You gotta release that, completely unplug it, pull the wire through this. I ripped it, but it is what it is. And then you have to remove the whole wheel to change this guy. The other thing you have to do, this cable is a pain in the rear end as well, so you have to stick in a screwdriver on the top portion. Let me see if I can zoom in. Not at the bottom portion, we have a bigger gap. At the top portion of it, and press those little tabs that hold this thing in and pull them out one by one till you have this whole plastic part in your hand. Then you will be able to run it out of there. In the front, it's a lot easier. I was done with the front fairly quickly in comparison to the back. The back was a little bit of a nightmare, but once this thing is up and running, there's absolutely nothing like it. It's a head turner. I mean, it's a showstopper. It's very powerful, very comfortable, especially once you raise up the suspension. This guy right here doesn't mean a whole lot to me, because once you actually tighten it up, if you press on it, it will lock and hold it in whatever position it is. If you put it like super tight and you put in some weight on it, it's just going to drop and be tight. So if you're on a flat surface and you want to take off, you probably could do that. So you're not going to have a whole lot of play. As you can see, you have a motorcycle suspension here, so when you get it, you put a lot of power through it, it actually wants to wheelie a little bit, and that would solve it. Or by pulling this collar, by twisting it, you got to remove the suspension, or at least open it from here. So there's a little set screw in here. You loosen it up and you twist this gently till you get it to the level you want. I wouldn't probably go past this, because then you'll end up putting a lot of pressure right here. So I wouldn't put it past here. And then if you go a little too far back, the scooter is raised up a little too much and it may get a little bit uncomfortable. This, I found, is probably a good amount to pull it back. Don't forget to clean the thread here before you start twisting this thing, otherwise you're gonna get it stuck and it won't be a whole lot of fun. So that's it for what I have for today. There's a whole lot of stuff I've done to this guy. I've put it apart pretty much in just about every place possible. I've opened up the stem. I've opened up. I took out both wheels. One more thing: if you're gonna take out the stem, a lot of people might get stuck with this. So you take out these two screws. You open this thing up, push it. The whole stem drops. You got to remove these two guys, one from each side. Once you remove them and drop them, there are two set screws on either side, on both sides. There's a set screw right here on the inside. There's another one on the other side. You got to take those out. And once you take those out, then you could push. There's a big metal bar right there. You could push it through. There's two copper collars or washers on each side. You pull this out, then you'll be able to open this thing up. Once you open it up, there's 4 screws in there that hold the bottom piece. I don't know if you guys can see it through here. Yep. So let's see. Those are the 4 screws. You take those out. you'll be able to get in here. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. And that's my Dualtron X4. Just kidding, this is a Dualtron X1. There's an X2 coming out. The X2, I believe right now they're taking orders on those. I might be upgrading to that, although I've put in a lot of work on this guy. But the X2 is going to be running a 72 volt battery instead of the 60 volt battery. So you'll be able to achieve higher speeds. Right now the fastest I've gone is 54, 55. Got to be somewhere around 190 pounds or so, 175. You probably can hit it a little quicker. If you're about 250, it's going to take you a minute to get to 55. With the 72 volt, I think it's 72 volts. With that, you should be able to reach closer to 70 miles per hour. And as you increase your voltage, you lower the amperage, and when you do that, you actually take a lot of pressure off of these guys right here. So the other changes I believe they've done to it, those chrome parts right there that says Dualtron on it, those are black on the new one on both sides. And from what John's been telling me, they probably fixed this guy right here and they changed it to a metal washer like I've done here. So hopefully if they've done that, how are you guys doing? If they've done that, you guys don't have to worry about it. So also the Dualtron X sticker that goes on top of the deck, that's something you guys can order online in case you mess yours up. I believe they sell them on AliExpress. I've already messed mine up, so I've already replaced it. It's somewhere in there. That's going to be all blacked out, and that's pretty much the main difference, the really main difference between the two. If you're considering a Dualtron X, it's a fantastic scooter. It's going to teach you a whole lot. Don't be afraid to open it up. I mean, working on RCs helped a lot because the system is pretty similar. You run an ESC and electronic speed control. You got the motor. Got the motor here. ESC, there's not a whole lot to it. There's a whole bunch of lights. You look at all these wires and you freak out. First time I opened it, I almost had a heart attack because I was like, what are all these wires? But once you start tracing the wires and see what's going on, like for example, these wires are the LED lights wires. You can just unscrew them from here, pull them out, unplug the wire from the source, and you can replace it. There's not a whole lot to it. So there you have it. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. You guys take care, and I'll see you on the next video.